wasn't supposed to be like this. The Knicks, the team that beat, battered, sometimes bullied their way to the best record in the East, now stand just 48 minutes away from watching the struggle, the hunger, the passion come to an end. Now the man whose sheer force of will drove this team so far, so fast, must inspire them once again.
Maybe this is the most defining moment of this team's life.
Just moments ago, in one locker room, you know Pat Riley hammered home what's at stake. In another locker room, the Chicago Bulls heard a message much the same. We're about to find out whose words ring true.
This is the NBA on NBC. The 1993 NBA playoffs. Tonight, Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the New York Knicks and the Chicago Bulls.
It is a rain-swept 47-degree day in the Windy City on a stormy day in Chicago in more ways than one. Another Michael Jordan gambling story has emerged full scale by virtue of the release of the new book alleging Jordan has lost more than $1 million in gambling on golf games back in 1991. And this is the scene just over an hour ago with Michael Jordan entering Chicago Stadium, passing on the normal players' entrance, taking a side route. And we welcome you. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert, along with the czar of the telestrator, Mike Fratello. Well, about a week to the day after Michael Jordan's notorious journey to Atlantic City was first revealed, a golfing partner of Jordan's released a book claiming that Jordan lost, to be precise, $1.25 million in golf bets to him in September of 1991. Again, raising the question of a gambling problem, a problem that Michael denies. He did release this statement late this afternoon. He said, after much deliberation, I've decided to interrupt my media silence and respond to yesterday's reports. I have played golf with Richard Esquinas with wagers made between us. Because I did not keep records, I cannot verify how much I won or lost. I can assure you that the level of our wagers was substantially less than the preposterous amounts that have been reported. It is extremely disappointing to me that an individual whom I caused no harm and who held himself out as my friend would shamelessly exploit my name for selfish gain. Now, Mike, how does this affect Jordan and his teammates? Obviously, earlier in the week, when the Atlantic City news came out, there was no effect at all.
Mark, there's an individual that can handle this thing, that has the inner toughness, the mental toughness to deal with it, put it behind him, and concentrate on the most important thing, which is winning a basketball game for the Chicago Bulls. It is Michael Jordan. He is a unique individual. As far as his teammates, I spoke with a number of them down in the locker room a while ago, and to a man, they each said they've paid no attention to this incident. It's just one more thing that's come up along the way that could be a distraction as they try to win their third championship in a row. So if there's anything that has to be dealt with, they feel after the season's the time, not now.
And for Pat Riley and the Knicks, it is now desperation time. The Knicks win the first two games of the series in New York. Chicago comes roaring back with 3 straight wins to nullify home court advantage. How does Pat Riley approach tonight's game?
There's an old rule of the river, you know. Yeah, you ever do some whitewater rafting, and when you fall overboard, you have to become an active participant in your own rescue. And I think that's what this is all about. We have to become actively involved in this rescue.
Pat, very philosophical.
Well, Pat Riley and the Knicks team understand the urgency of the situation. You play all season, win 60 games to have home court advantage throughout the Eastern Conference Series, and then suddenly by losing game 5, you realize that if you do not win this game 6, the season's over. You go home. There is no tomorrow. Now, one little thing they did differently from their routine, today they had a shoot around the New York Knicks, but no coaches were there. It was a players-only situation for team unification.
So once again, it will be Michael Jordan facing John Starks with the season on the line for the New York Knicks.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by American Honda, who has been making quality cars in America for the past 10 years. By Schick Tracer, it traces every curve on your face. And by Miller Lite, an official sponsor of the NBA on NBC.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Chicago Bulls welcome the world's greatest fans to the Chicago Stadium. Tonight's Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals is between the New York Knicks and your Chicago Bulls. Now for tonight's lineups. First for the visiting New York Knickerbockers. And forward from Pittsburgh, 6'10", Charles Smith. A 6'9" forward from Virginia Union, Charles Oakley. At center, 7 foot from Georgetown, Patrick Ewing. And one guard from Oklahoma State, 6'5", John Starks. And the other guard, 6'4", from Marquette, Glenn Doc Rivers. The New York Knicks are coached by Pat Riley, assisted by Jen Gubney, Dick Carter, the trainer Mike Saunders. Now, the starting lineup for your world champion Chicago Bulls. And forward, from Clemson, 6'10", Horace Grant. A 6'7" forward from Central Arkansas, Scottie Pippen. The man in the middle from San Francisco, 7'1", Bill Cartwright. A 6'2" guard from Iowa, B.J. Armstrong. From North Carolina, head guard, 6'6", Michael Jordan. The head coach of the Bulls is Phil Jackson.
Well, the 291st consecutive sellout here at Chicago Stadium, responding to Ray Clay's introduction of the Chicago Bulls. And while we have a moment, let's check in with Ahmad Rashad and Hannah Storm. First, here's Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Marv. I was down in the Bulls locker room, very loose locker room, but the key word was focus. I've never seen this team so focused, and Michael Jordan in particular. I talked to him about all these allegations. He told me that these kind of things can do one or two things to you. They can either make you stronger or they can crush you. And he said, I am not the kind of guy that crushes easily. Anna?
Ahmad, the Knicks are uptight. They have done everything they can to avoid the media today. That's another reason they held that unofficial practice that Mike was referring to earlier. And they arrived late at Chicago Stadium, about a half hour later than uniform, and in full dress. This is the same thing they did after their altercation in Phoenix when they went to the LA Forum on March 26th. As for the injury situation, Charles Oakley, the ring finger of his right hand, his shooting hand, he has a jammed knuckle. That's the official word on that injury. And if you'll notice, he has the 2 fingers taped on that hand. Let's go to Marvin Mike.
Thank you, Hannah. The Knicks did not work out yesterday. Pat Riley said it's all about conserving energy at this point. How do you see the Knicks coming out here tonight?
I don't think there's any question that they're going to come out tonight with a lot of fire, a tremendous amount of physical play. The officials will determine a lot early in the game on how it's going to be allowed to play. But New York wants to get after them, be the aggressor instead of being the catcher.
Rick O'Donnell, Jess Kersey, and Bennett Salvatore are the officials. The Knicks controlling the opening tip. Ewing getting position for the jump hook. So the Knicks off to the 2-0 lead, and the question concerning the Bulls, will it be Michael Jordan, the playmaker, or Michael Jordan, the scorer, at least here at the start?
Well, in their pre-game seance that Michael seems to have with Ahmad.
Seance?
Before every game, as B.J. hits a little floater down the lane, Michael said that tonight he was going to come out, try and get his teammates involved, but If he felt it wasn't going well that way, he'd do whatever it took to win this basketball game. If I have to score 50, score 50, he said.
We saw the light pressure shown by Chicago. Charles Smith with a 4-2 Knick lead. So Charles Smith last seen by fans across the country with the 4 attempts underneath that did not drop. Able to hit on his first field goal attempt. Scottie Pippen coming off an outstanding game in New York on Wednesday. Puts the move on and then lost it. Rivers picks it up. Rivers avoiding Pippen, finding Oakley. Open shot. Rebound, Michael Jordan. Jordan with the pull. And a loose ball foul against the Knicks.
Loose ball, Chicago.
Check that. Horace Grant called for the foul.
The guy who was the key on the boards for him in game number 5, Grant, a terrific offensive rebounder. You got to keep a body on him, keep him away from the offensive board. That time, caught with the push-off.
Knicks with a 4-2 lead as John Starks hears the boos from the crowd as he sets up against Michael Jordan. Doc Rivers played by B.J. Armstrong. And the foul this time is called against the Knicks. Charles Smith trying to squeeze his way inside and was called for flashing the right hand. The last 3 games, Smith has been an early foul difficult.
Well, there's no question that he was going to come out tonight and be very aggressive after missing the shots at the end of the game, receiving the criticism that he's received because, as some people felt, he didn't go up strong at the end of the game. He's going to come out here and show that he has a physical side to him.
Hawkwire got off early at Madison Square Garden. Grant strip. And Rivers goes back.
That was a great pass that time, interior pass by Michael Jordan, but John Starks got a hand in there to strip him of the ball.
Armstrong got a piece of that pass. 3-on-1. Pippen for Grant. Yes, and it counts. Oakley picks up his first. And Horace Grant will go to the line.
It was interesting in talking to some of the Bulls players down in the locker room. They said that the one thing they knew they had to do tonight was come out and play harder tonight in Game 6 than they did in Game 5. Now, you would think that it might be reversed. You have to play harder on the road to win a game. But they knew how New York was going to come out, so they had to raise it up a level, not to give them a chance to sneak back in.
Here's pressure with Starks popping ahead for Smith. Bulls now lead 5-4. Smith way off. Kept alive by Oakley, lost his balance. Starks. John Starks looking for the room along the baseline. Stepped out of bounds.
Very important that everybody stays within the framework of what they're trying to get done. Don't try and do it all by yourself because everybody understands how big this game is. You do it by doing it together.
Jordan to the left hand. And stop. Good play by Smith to turn it back. Last time the Knicks and the Bulls played here in Chicago, Michael Jordan exploded for the 54. Patrick Ewing. Ewing lost his balance. Claims that he took a shot on the bridge of the nose. And lost a contact lens. The Knicks with a 6-5 lead. Jordan dishes it off. Here's Pippen. Scottie Pippen in Game 5 in New York, 12 for 23, 28 points. Another outstanding game. He has had a terrific series.
Mark, you know, that last semi-fast break before Ewing hit the jumper for New York, I saw Rivers start to push and kind of pull it back out a little bit. I'm wondering if in Game 5 they felt a false sense of security where they got out early, ran the ball, got some easy scores, yet still it was Chicago's tempo, not theirs ultimately.
Interesting point, and the Knicks were shooting so well. What hurt them was the poor free throw shooting, and despite the fact that they were able to get out as they did in the first half, as you had mentioned, Phil Jackson delighted with the score. Starks is able to bury the jump shot. Phil Jackson delighted that the Bulls were able to hang in that first half.
Because Chicago still scored 31 points in that first quarter, which is unusual against a New York team.
The Knicks 8, the Bulls 7. Michael Jordan. Rebound, Patrick Ewing. So Michael has missed his first two. 4.5 gone by. Starks finding the shot again. John Starks has been quiet the last couple of games. He outplayed Michael Jordan the first two in New York. And then it has gone the other way. The Bulls call for a timeout. 7:23 remaining first quarter. The Knicks 10, the Bulls 7. Well, an animated Phil Jackson talking to his ball club, coming off that Bulls Wednesday night victory in New York, and with Game 6 back here in Chicago, does Phil Jackson have to guard against overconfidence on the part of his team? We asked that of Phil.
I don't believe this team is overconfident, but the thing about it is that you play not to lose a game like this. That's the one thing that I guard against with this ball club. And the other thing is that, you know, playing against the Knicks is like handling a dangerous rattlesnake, a cornered rattlesnake. They are a dangerous opponent right now because they've got their backs to the wall and they've got nothing to lose but come out and play as hard as they possibly can.
Marv, I have a full understanding of what Phil is talking about, going back to the series that the Atlanta Hawks played when I was coaching them against Boston. Home in Game 6, had just beaten the Celtics 3 straight to take a 3-2 lead. In our case, it wasn't a sense of playing not to lose. It was more a sense of a little bit of overconfidence setting in, a little lack of maturity on the team's part, not realizing how big a game it was and not understanding how strong Boston was going to come out.
And that's the Bulls' third turnover, so the Knicks get it back, having difficulty inbounding. Good pressure by Chicago. What a report about that Atlanta-Boston series. That was a very, very good Boston Celtic team that came from behind 3 games to 2 to knock off the Hawks in 7. Here's Smith from way out, rebounded by Cartwright. The Knicks by 3. 5 minutes gone by in this first quarter. B.J. Armstrong picked up on the switch. Jordan wide open. Yes. That is his first field goal.
Look, nice little wrinkle that time by Chicago. They played pick and roll 2-man basketball with B.J. and knew that the Knicks would trap it. The foul called by Michael Jordan, it looks like, in the backcourt. The pick and roll was played on the left side of the floor using Jordan on the weak side, knowing they would trap. If you swing the ball to the weak side, then it's a rotation to get to Jordan. It's too late that particular time.
Jordan upset about that last foul call. He felt that John Starks, who was trapped, trying to pull his way through and should have been called for the personal. Here's Starks for 3. Rebounded by Grant. The Knicks 10, the Bulls 9. Jordan tried the crossover. Armstrong. And Grant at the high post for Pippen to get the whistle. A hacking foul. That is the second for Smith.
The Bulls win about an hour and 15 minutes today at practice. Shoot around a little bit abnormal. The point of emphasis, offensive execution. Pippen comes off the nice screen, gets a good clean look, just can't convert as he's fouled on the play. But to go an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes, an abnormal thing for a team on game day. Some teams, not all teams.
And here comes Anthony Mason for the 3rd time in 6 games. Charles Smith is forced to leave after picking up the early fouls, collecting 2 halfway through this opening quarter. So Smith to the bench. Anthony Mason, who had a strong game and has had a very potent series, has come on for the first time. Strong game for Anthony Mason in New York. 41 minutes, 8 of 11 from the field. Bulls with a 1-point lead. And again the pressure. Jordan staying with Starks. Met by the trap as Pippen came over and it forces the turnover. And Pat Riley is upset.
What he's upset about is seem to lose an understanding that they're going to come late at you. Pippen leads his man, suddenly jumps the basketball, and then when you try and throw a pass cross court that far with these Bull team, they cover too much ground. They're going to intercept it, or as the case that time, he throws it out of bounds.
Michael Jordan. He's now 1 for 5, so a slow start by Michael. The Bulls this season. I get the idea that the bad back has affected his ball handling, which makes it very difficult at times against the Chicago press. And Hannah Storm telling us that Doc bothered by torn ligaments. The basket counts. Bill Cartwright will go to the line. Doc suffering with torn ligaments in his hand, his shooting hand, and that has affected him as you watch Cartwright on the follow.
And in the last time out, Ahmad overheard Phil Jackson telling the team that they wanted to establish an inside game, get the inside people involved. He didn't like the way they came out to start the game, thinking if they established the inside game, it would help them get their defense set. Then they'd have a better defensive chance of pressuring New York.
The Knicks have missed their last 3 shots. They're down now 14-10, just under 5 minutes to go in this first quarter. Ewing is forced outside by the double team. Well, the Knicks showing signs of losing their poise once again. Another bad pass.
But you need to understand that this is something that probably was going to happen early, that Chicago was going to play on emotion, play off the crowd. You just got to keep reinforcing with your team. Hang in there, stay close enough, give yourself a chance, and use your timeouts wisely.
Scottie Pippen has 6. Here's the pressure. Pippen over on the trap, but this time Starks came to the ball, and the Knicks were able to handle it. Nice play by Mason. Oakley on the tip. Oakley again. And it will be Nick Ball. Also a loose ball foul called on Bill Cartwright. For Cartwright, his first. Notice the gash on the forehead of Charles Oakley, suffered a collision with Bill Cartwright in the last game. Rivers strip. Here comes Jordan. Armstrong chasing down. Armstrong. Yes. The Bulls on a roll. 11 unanswered. They lead by 8. The Knicks call for time.
In attacking, pressure, trapping defenses, one of the keys is know where your teammates are and let the guy that's being trapped know. So as the ball goes into Ewing, he has one defensive player stop right there. 1, 2. Now, where are the offensive guys going to be for the New York Knicks? He doesn't know. He passes it over to the coach, Pat Riley. Wrong guy, Patrick. And then after the pass, Riley showing the frustration that set in on the Knicks team.
Over the last 3 minutes and 20 seconds, Chicago has reeled off 11 straight points, and they lead 18-10. Starks backing up for the 3. John Starks from downtown. So Starks has 7, in Chicago 18, the Knicks 13. Both clubs remain the same following the timeout. 3:40 remaining in this first quarter. Jordan gets inside and then saw that he was being played by Ewing. Tried to go cross court. It was broken up. Last touch by the Knicks. Phil Jackson coming out once again with the trapping defense, and it has bothered the Knicks. Look at that stat. Jordan 1 for 5. Rest of the club 6 for 6. This is what took place back in Game 3 here in Chicago. Jordan to the fadeaway. Remember, Michael went 3 for 18, but distributed the ball, and the supporting cast did the job. Well, Jordan trying to shoot his way back into it. That's his second field goal, but as he likes to put it, his supporting cast once again has come up big in this first quarter. Mason getting position, then rejected by Pippen. Here is Ewing. Bulls with a 3-on-2. The Knicks do hustle back. Jordan for 3. Yes.
In the last timeout, Phil Jackson emphasized to the team he wants a big spurt. He doesn't want to exchange baskets 10-9, 11-10. He wants to open it up. Told Michael Jordan, take more chances on the defensive end if you have to. Let's try and get something going.
How about that sequence? A bad shot by Starks, but Oakley was able to score on the putback. Bulls now lead by 8. 2.5 to go in this first quarter. Bulls have hit their last 5 shots. And let's see what the call is here by Jake O'Donnell. A hold on Rivers.
Michael uses his advantage, checks out the shot clock, his ability to jump, rise up, a little bit of a fade makes it tough for the outstretched hand of Starks to bother. Then if you let him come down in transition and get behind that three-point line, he's been shooting it well from back there, wipes those hands, makes sure that everything's cleaned up, plus he's got the feel.
Here's Greg Anthony replacing Doc Rivers, who just picked up his second foul. Greg Anthony played well in Game 5 of the Garden. Strong 15 minutes. Seeing action in the first half, hit 3 out of 4, compiled 5 assists. And Greg Anthony has been more effective against the pressure defense. Bulls by 10. But the Bulls do not mind when Greg Anthony takes the outside shot. Mason got inside, but too strong. Here's Oakley. And Oakley is fouled. Bulls foul. He traveled. Ball for his second.
Mason has had real good inside position. The problem has been converting once you turn and get a look at the basket. Oak, who doesn't play above the rim, has a tough time getting up so that he can score over the 6'10", 7-footers inside, but he's not afraid to put that body in there, draw contact, and at least get to the foul line.
And the Knicks, who have suffered at the foul line, shooting their first free throws of the night. They were 20 for 35. Horrendous foul shooting in Game 5. Look at that number, though, in terms of free throw attempts. In New York, Knicks go to the line 105 times. In Chicago, 58. Talk about home court advantage. 87-81 for Chicago. Oakley hits on the first 2. So the Bulls now lead 25-17 as we come up on 2 minutes remaining in this first quarter. Ewing jumping out on a switch. Stacey King has come on for the first time and gets right to it. Pretty turnaround move from the baseline by Stacey King. Oakley back to help. Chicago with a 10-point lead. Anthony working on Armstrong, getting a screen. Anthony shook off the pick and roll again. The crowd wanted to travel on Oakley, but no call.
Chicago is right on the verge of being called for an illegal defense. They know how to cheat just to the point of being legal, but at times they cross over to the illegal status. If New York held the ball a second longer, they'd probably get the whistle.
Pippen for 3. And Oakley with the rebound. And Charles very effective off the boards, although he looks like he's a bit tired as he makes his way up court. Charles Oakley was not a factor off the boards after suffering that bruised hand injury that bothered him in Game 5. Shot clock down to 2. Down to 1. Starks for Mason. And the outside official, Jake O'Donnell, waves it off. He calls a 24-second violation.
If the ball is still in his possession when the red light goes off, the clock hits 00. The red light at the top of the screen goes off in possession. Good call.
Jess Kersey and Bennett Salvatore looking to Jake O'Donnell at center court, who had the best angle, so we had that slight delay, and then Jake made the goal.
Checking out both ankles or just one?
All angles. Bulls 27 and the Knicks 19. 40 seconds remaining in this first quarter. Armstrong off the weave. Mason with the good box out. Now Stacey King is guarding Patrick Ewing. King came on for Cartwright. Anthony got inside. Oh, what a shot by Greg Anthony. That's one the Knicks have not seen.
Right now, if I'm Pat Riley, I am very happy. His team has kept this thing close enough, got through the first quarter where Chicago was not able to blow it open, and now you play from here.
Final seconds of the quarter. King with a standing one-hander. That's a rare shot by Anthony. Checks the clock. Anthony gets it off. After impressive 3 of 7, including 1 from three-point range. He has 9 points, along with 4 assists. The Bulls have an 8-point lead in this Game 6 of the best of 7.
Ahmad Rashad back at Chicago Stadium. Well, Michael Jordan was in for a big surprise when he got to the stadium tonight. His younger sister, Rosalind, sang the national anthem. Well, Rosalind told me that she couldn't think of any better way to get Michael started off on the right track for this evening. And as you can see, they're on pretty much the right track so far, 29-21. Mark?
All right, Ahmad, now let's go over to Hannah.
Well, if you notice, Charles Oakley is not back in the game. He's sitting at the end of the bench. Charles, you can't really see the cut from this angle because he's taken the bandages off. But if you recall, he had a 1.5 to 2-inch cut suffered during Game 5 at Madison Square Garden. Apparently, it's bothering him, and he was treated by Mike Saunders during that timeout. Mark?
All right, Hannah, yes. Charles Oakley looked to be in pain just moments ago after coming down with a rebound. Second quarter underway. John Paxson, Scott Williams, Trent Tucker have all checked in. Post-up move by Jordan, played very well by Starks. Charles Smith is back. So it is Smith with Ewing and Mason on the front line, and Starks and Anthony in the backcourt. Once again, the Knicks have had the edge off the boards. Knicks only 9 for 22 from the field in the first quarter, while the Bulls 11 for 17. Charles Smith with his second field goal. And off the steal! Greg Anthony continues to play well. He has brought the Knicks within 4. Action played by Anthony. Tucker now taken on the switch by Mason. Here's Stacey King. Wild shot. And Ewing got a piece of it.
Chicago's going with the small team that has helped them the last 3 games when they've come out with it. Right now, New York taking advantage against the small team.
Yes, Paxson along with Jordan and Tucker in a 3-guard alignment along with King and Williams. Oh, look out. Anthony tripped up and a foul is called. Foul is called on Anthony, committing the foul before he went down.
A moment ago, after New York had scored on the inbounds pass, Stacey King gets a little careless. John Paxson doesn't come back to the ball, and Anthony sneaks in and picks up the steal and score. Give and go cut by Jordan. Anthony trying to hold on. Jordan throwing him off.
Tucker lost it. He thought he had Mason beaten off the fake. Mondo Blackman has checked in for the first time. He has not been able to contribute much during this series. Played only 7 minutes in Game 5. And Blackman is called for the travel. That's been the problem with Rolando, is not getting the playing time. And there have been a number of traveling violations.
What they're trying to do is they're trying to force feed the ball into Charles Smith on the quick post-up. Chicago takes away the first pass. They throw it back to the top of the circle, trying to enter from the top. Blackman can't get a good look, so what happens? He travels, takes steps before he puts it on the floor.
Shot clock at 6. Jordan off the fake through the foul. 2 minutes have gone by in this second quarter, and a timeout is called.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Visa. It's everywhere you want to be. By Keystone, Keystone Light and Keystone Dry. Bottled beer taste in a can. Wouldn't that be great? And by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
Welcome back to Chicago Stadium. You watch the work inside between Charles Smith and the Knicks, Scott Williams of the Bulls. Throughout the series, Scott Williams has been a factor off the bench, as he has been in the playoffs the last 2 years in his 3rd season out of North Carolina. But Scott Williams has made it clear that he wants more playing time and perhaps could end up going elsewhere, a subject we discussed with him.
I think that I'm playing behind some quality some quality players in Horace Grant and Bill Cartwright, but as a young player, you want to be able to go out there and be a guy that knows he's going to play 25 and 30 minutes a night. That's the kind of situation that I'm looking for now. I've gotten the rings and I've gotten all the awards and the compensation for being on the winning team. I want to go out there on a team maybe that's struggling to make it to that next level and try to help them win a championship and be able to guy who can play on a nightly basis.
He doesn't really mean that. He doesn't mean what he's saying. He wants to be part of this Bulls organization. That's one of those tools that you use when it's contract time and you're going for a new contract, trying to move it up to a different level. He likes Chicago. He understands what his role is with this team. I think he'd rather win world championships than go somewhere else and get 28 minutes a game.
Are you saying Scott is posturing a bit?
A little bit, a little bit.
Michael Jordan has 11. And the Bulls now lead 31-25. Second quarter, Marv Albert, Mike Fratello, Ahmad Rashad, and Hannah Storm. Anthony whipping by Paxson. And Greg Anthony has been a major factor for the Knicks. He's hit 3 out of 3. Like Stacey King shaken up. An official timeout is taken.
Anthony catches the Bulls with their backs turned for a second. Normally they would have rotated over a little bit sooner, but the free arm, his non-shooting elbow, is what catches King in the eye as he loses his balance, Anthony, but scores the ball.
Chicago trainer Chip Schaefer out to check things with Stacey King. As you see it from another angle, Anthony going flying, and then he clipped King. And Will Perdue will replace Stacey King. Perdue and Williams are the big men on the floor now for Chicago, with Tucker, Paxson, and Jordan.
If this group for Chicago doesn't start scoring some points against the New York defense, you might see a quick change by Phil Jackson. He's given him a chance. They haven't responded by scoring points, so he'll take a look for a little bit longer, but then it's time to make a move back to the other unit.
Blackman played Jordan well and then was able to get to the rebound. The Knicks are down by 4. Blackman passed on the 3, shoots for 2. Just Kersey with a loose ball foul against the Bulls.
Loose ball foul, Chicago.
It's called on Will Perdue. So the Knicks will get the new 24. And here comes Horace Grant checking back in along with Scottie Pippen. So Phil Jackson will make the changes right here. Trent Tucker will sit down, and he'll take this opportunity to give a breather to Michael Jordan.
Well, you could just sense that enough was enough. He had gone with that unit. There was a timeout. He spoke to him, tried to shake him up a little bit. They didn't respond, so now you go back and try and play with your normal rotation.
Ewing with a very difficult shot. And off the rebound scramble. Jake O'Donnell with the call. A timeout was called by Grant. Good play by Horace Grant. He had the ball and saw he was in heavy traffic and wisely called for time.
Well, you know that when the ball goes inside, Chicago's going to converge on the basketball and do their best to get a lot of bodies in there to come up with rebounds because of the pounding that they took in the first 4 games. When Grant comes up with it, smart enough to call a quick timeout. Suspect.
Some people
Double call. Another Knick turnover. Very strong passes being thrown. Those not the exchanges that Rivers and Starks would like.
Well, the frustration has to set in. Just think of the easy baskets New York has missed inside so far, what we call chippies or layups. And then on their opportunities, their chances to score in transition. Greg Anthony gets up in the air, jumps up, throws it out of bounds. That time they've got a 3-on-2 fast break. No score. You must convert. No sense running fast breaks if you're not going to get.
Out of 6, 7 points. Interesting. Staff added by Mr. Stats, Elliot Calv came up with Bill Cartwright in the lineup in game number 5 when he was on the floor for 25 minutes. Patrick Ewing scored 11 points. With Cartwright on the bench for 23 minutes, Patrick Ewing scored 22 of his points. So it demonstrated in game 5 and as we mentioned earlier, Bill Cartwright has done a good job in pushing Ewing off the blocks. It demonstrates the value of Bill Cartwright, even if he's not scoring. Now, the Bulls would prefer that he show up a bit more offensively as he did in Game 5, but still, he's the only player on the Chicago roster who really can have an effect on Ewing.
It's because of Ewing's respect for Williams, King, and Purdue, and also the officials' respect for Bill Cartwright as a veteran center.
Oakley with the open jump shot. 8 points for Charles Oakley. The Bulls 49, the Knicks 46. Chicago at one point led by as many as 11. The Knicks have destroyed the Bulls off the boards. 24-7 rebound. The ball very much, but time was running down, and that is the end of the first half. So the Knicks have scrapped their way back. They were down by as many as 11. For the Knicks, the season on the line, they hope to bring this to a Game 7 in New York on Sunday. The Bulls would like to wrap it as they would advance to the championship round. Bob Costas coming up in a moment. as we continue our coverage of the French Open presented by Coca-Cola Classic. Tomorrow at 12 noon, you'll see exclusive coverage of the women's final as #1 seed Steffi Graf will take on Mary Jo Fernandez, the #5 seed. That's right here on NBC tomorrow starting at 12 noon and at 3 o'clock Eastern time, starting with Showtime. It'll be Game 7 between Seattle and Phoenix. How about the performance by Shawn Kemp last night? An inspired 22 points, 15 rebounds. Charles Barkley will be looking to turn it from the 4 of 14 from the field.
That Seattle group just might be wild enough to go in there and win a Game 7 away from home. They play with so much aggressiveness. They play with so little concern about who they're playing against, and they just could steal that series.
Look at the turnaround at the foul line of the second half. The Knicks were 9 for 10 from the line in the first half. They are 4 of 10 in the second half. And again, Pat Riley is suffering as he watches his team die at the foul line. That killed them in Game 5 in New York. How about George Karl, one of the more colorful coaches in the NBA? He made the statement recently that his goal is to coach someday in the CBA. He had a stint, you'll recall, in the CBA. In fact, after Sonic games this season, in the middle of the night, he would dial the CBA hotline to check on scores. George Karl,
top of basketball all over.
Absolutely. And obviously enjoyed his time in the Continental Basketball Association. He's done a great job with the Seattle Supersonics. Bulls by 4. Paxson. Rebounded by Grant. Paxson for 3. Kept alive by King, and he drew the foul. Stacey King will go to the line for the first time. That is #5, committed by John Starks.
And that man right there, Pat Riley, has done some job with this basketball team. In only 2 years, would you say that perhaps they're slightly ahead of schedule?
Yes, I think there was a point this season where Dave Jackson and Ernie Grunfeld and Pat Riley said, hey, we could have a shot at contending for the title. I don't know if they felt it would happen this quickly. And right here they are facing either a Game 7 in New York or elimination and the end of the season. A season that saw the Knicks win 60 games, finishing on top of the Eastern Conference. They opened up this series after knocking off Charlotte and Indiana by winning the first 2. Smith was fouled. And Chicago turned it with 3 straight wins, including that breakthrough victory in New York on Wednesday. Paxson called for the foul.
I'm sorry, you have 2 outstanding coaches that kind of approach things from a different way, but accomplish the same thing in the end. They've got teams that capture the attention of the league. They play a little different style of basketball, each of them, but both feared by the opponents for what they do respectively, where you know that when you show up against these 2 people, you better be ready to play basketball.
And Stacey King hears it from the crowd. 8 points for Stacey. Bill Cartwright is back. On the subject of coaches, we mentioned the nice words about George Karl, knowing George's personality. He'll say, we're just trying to cozy up to him because he's been complaining that Seattle doesn't get enough attention. You know that would be George's point of view.
Well, if they win this next game, they'll capture a little bit of attention from around the country.
The Bulls 79 and the Knicks 75. Yes, the Suns and the Sonics. Game 7 tomorrow in Phoenix. And NBC will have it starting 3 o'clock with Showtime. 3 o'clock Eastern. Just under 7 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter. Shot clock at 5. Here's Pippen. Well, he thought it was deflected, but it was not, according to the officials. And it will be Nick Paul when we come back following the timeout. with 6:49 left in the game.
NBA on NBC is brought to you by Nissan. It's time to expect more from a car. By Armor All. There is a fountain of youth, and we own the patent. And by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft. Get out of the old, get into the cold.
Welcome back to Chicago Stadium, where once again the Knicks have had their difficulties at the foul line. They started with 9 for 10 in the first half. They're now 16 for 23 overall. They had the awful performance at the line in New York on Wednesday. We talked about it yesterday with Pat Riley, who has been exasperated with the Knicks' efforts at the line.
I swore that I would never do this in my life. I mean, there isn't a team that shoots more in practice, highly intense drills in practice, and then in between the intense drills, shoot free throws while you're in a state of fatigue than us. And, you know, it may come down to I may have to hire a guru to come in, because I think it's all here. I think when you shoot as much as you do, it really is more of a mental thing than anything else. And, you know, so that may be the next step.
See, I told you, all you need is a shot doctor, make it work. And Patrick Ewing has the shot doctor right there, knocking out that jumper.
17 for Ewing, and the Knicks are within 2. The Bulls 79, the Knicks 77, 6:20 remaining in the game. Michael Jordan has been very quiet, has not hit a field goal in 11 and a half minutes. Deflected short. Pippen pops it out. Shot clock at 2. Paxson flings and hits. John Paxson with 1 on the 24.
Gamble pays off. Leave Paxson on the floor.
9 points for Paxson. The Bulls lead by 4. Ewing sends the pick. Pippen rebound. Michael Jordan is 8 for 22 from the field. He's missed his last 5. Missed his last 6. And a foul called on the Bulls as Ewing was pushed. Grant called for his second.
Desperation with the 24-second clock all the way down. Paxson knows that he's got to hurry and get it up. To his right, with 1 second remaining, the ball is in the air. 1 second on the 24-second clock. John Paxson makes it. Underneath, Grant shoves Ewing in the back. Sure, he comes up with the ball, but can't do it that way.
Foul committed by Grant sends Ewing to the line with Chicago over the limit. The Knicks 7 of 13 from the line in the second half. The Bulls 81, the Knicks 78. Ewing is 2 of 4 at the line. The Knicks continue to struggle at the free throw line.
See how many passes Chicago throws. I think they called their 4-pass offense. There's 2, there's 3, there's 4. That's what they called out. They wanted 4 passes before anybody took a shot.
Scottie Pippen had a good, clean look at the basket and hit that corner jump.
Coaches will go to that when they feel that the ball isn't moving, when they're stacked that offense. They want some touches in there, get everybody involved. Jackson made the call, 4-pass offense.
Chicago leads by 5. Charles Smith, yes. 14 points for Smith. The Bulls by 3. The Knicks seeking to prolong the season, looking for a Game 7 in New York on Sunday night. The Bulls want to wrap it and get a couple of extra days of rest as they wait for the winner between Phoenix and Seattle. Grant, way short. The Chicago shooting has been off here in the fourth quarter.
This is one of the things that New York banks on, that fatigue will set in against their opponent. New York feels it's the best conditioned team in the NBA. The big bodies are going to wear you down, force you to miss shots at the end.
Nice fake, but Ewing went short. He thought he was fouled. And Riley wants his club to get back. They do not. Pippen. Well, now the Knicks able to get back into
They escape, yes, they escape. A dangerous situation right there.
And Phil Jackson wants to talk it over. 3:49 remaining in the game. Bulls by 3. Reminder tonight, following your late local news, don't miss the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, Late Night with Dave, and Friday Night Videos. It's all tonight right here on NBC. Well, the Bulls shooting showing a decline. They hit 11 of 17 from the field in the first quarter, but they've gone down 4 of 13 here in the fourth. And that man, Michael Jordan, has missed his last 6 shots. He's 3 for 9 in the second half.
Well, it's certainly something that Pat Riley mentioned at halftime. During the regular season, New York was #1 in the league, holding their opponents to just 43% shooting from the floor. At halftime of this game, Chicago was at 55%. They've done their job, New York, in the second half, reducing that field goal percentage.
They've also cut down on turnovers. Here's Pippen. Scottie Pippen thought he was fouled. Another big shot by Pippen, who has certainly made a habit out of it in this series. He has 21 points in all. The Bulls by 5. Ewing's pass nearly picked off. It was saved by Pippen, taken by Smith. And a palming violation seems to be indicated. Let's see Jake O'Donnell with the call. And now in a conversation over at the scorer's table.
Pippen started to double team, got the hand out, then dove to save the basketball on the floor. Now we're just trying to get a read on what Jake O'Donnell's call would be. He was motioning that there was a turnover or carry of the basketball.
Apparently he said Pippen had palmed it. And the ball is being awarded to the Knicks with a new 24 and 3:16 remaining in this fourth quarter as a timeout is called. Here's another look at it. Let's see.
The interpretation has to be whether or not he has possession of the basketball. If he had possession, then New York should be awarded a new 24. The interpretation was this was not a slap or a bat by Pippen, that it was a controlled save, and because of that, a new 24 seconds will be awarded to the New York Knicks rather than just playing out the time that's left on the 24-second clock.
So it's not a palm as we thought. It seemed to be the indication.
The motion that Jake O'Donnell was making, turning his hand over, meant that he felt he had controlled it long enough in saving it, and it wasn't a slap.
Now 15 on the 24. We come up on 3 minutes remaining in the game. The Bulls lead by 5. They double up on Starks. Ewing around Cartwright. Rebound Pippen.
Again, another one of those missed opportunities at the front of the rim for New York. If they convert, this game was a different story right now.
They are on their feet here in Chicago. Jordan, he thought he was hacked. Grant able to get to it. Michael Jordan only 8 for 24. He's missed his last 7 shots.
Let's give Rivers some credit for pretty good defense.
Shot clock at 8. Shot clock at 5. And the foul called on Rivers.
And there's no question that that's a result of the last time Michael Jordan shot the basketball, he felt he was hit on the forearm. That's why his shot pulled up short. He turned, complained. This time Rivers hit with the hand check.
4 on Rivers. And a timeout taken. That's a 20-second timeout. So the Bulls are down to 2 timeouts left. 2 conventional. And the Knicks have their 3 full timeouts remaining.
Pippen had to go to the 20. He had no inbounds pass. Rather than lose a possession, he calls it.
And Chicago has come back off the boards after being severely beaten in the first half. 25-7 disparity. Horace Grant with 9 rebounds in the second half. 9 of his 11. And that has been the major difference.
Yeah, and that offensive rebounding, which was 12-1 in favor of New York at halftime, right now in the second half, It is 6 offensive rebounds for Chicago, just 2 for New York Knicks.
The Bulls 85, the Knicks 80. 2 minutes, 15 seconds remaining, fourth quarter. Perhaps remaining in the New York Knicks season. Pippen, rebound Ewing.
Ewing is up. Ewing is after every one of those rebounds, understanding the importance of gaining possession, trying to cut down Chicago's offensive boards.
12 rebounds for Ewing, along with 18 points. Starks for 3. Starks scoops it. He stepped out of bounds. John Starks stepped down the line.
Hustling after the loose. There's the right foot on the line while he's got possession. Good call.
No question about it. Rivers and Jordan in each other's faces. And at 35 to go. Jordan fouled by Rivers. And now Jordan with some words for Rivers. And Jordan being ushered aside. Doc Rivers just went back at Michael Jordan, and they're being separated.
Talk about competitive people. Doc Rivers, every bit as competitive as you want on the floor. He's got an assignment. Do you read lips well?
No. Michael Jordan's teammates trying to settle him down now. That's 5 on Doc Rivers. Jordan is 5 for 5 from the line. This has not been one of the stronger performances for Michael Jordan. It's the other people that have done it tonight.
And Pat Riley has signaled he wants a timeout after this possession to get everything set up, making sure there are no mistakes here after this free throw.
The Bulls by 7. A minute 34 remaining in the game, and the Knicks take a timeout. Time appears to be running out on the New York Knicks. Knicks and Bulls each have 2 timeouts left. It will be New York ball. The Bulls lead 87-80.
Three-point shooters for New York, Doc Rivers, John Starks, the 2 primary guys. But when you are down by 7, you'll take any score you can get if it's a quick one in a hurry.
Knicks are only 1 of 9 from 3-point range. Starks 1 for 6. Knicks having difficulty finding a shot. Ewing able to shake off Pippen and hit, and looked like Pippen took a bump in the chin. The Bulls 87, the Knicks 82. Important possessions now as we close in on 1 minute remaining. Jordan had it knocked away. Paxson for Cartwright. Shot clock at 4. Here's Pippen for 3. Yes! Again, Scottie Pippen has hit the big shot.
Talk about driving a stake in the guy's heart. 24-second clock is down. Pippen knows he's got to get it up. There are only 2 seconds remaining. Time after time, Scottie Pippen in this series has proven that he can come up big when they need him, relieve some of that pressure off Michael Jordan.
Well, a moment ago, an enormous shot for Scottie Pippen to extend to an 8-point Bulls lead. Remember back in Game 4 here in Chicago Monday afternoon, it was Pippen able to hit. This turned into a 3-point shot with about 2 minutes remaining in the game, and it extended the Chicago lead to 7. A crushing blow dealt to the Knicks, and look at that stat line on Pippen: 24 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, and here is Pippen doing it tonight. Scottie Pippen with a minute 1 remaining, and if the the series in 6. When it is all digested and the media looks back from the New York point of view, back in New York, the complaint about the Knicks will be that they did not go at Pippen in the same physical fashion as they did a year ago. There will be the feeling that they let him off the hook.
I'm not so sure I would agree with that. I think different situations are hard to compare to one another. He's having an excellent series. They've had some big bodies on him, bumping in and hitting him. He's made some shots where certain nights they'll roll in, other nights they'll roll out. And he's getting the roll in this series, shooting 51% from the floor, 22 points, 7 rebounds a game, and almost 4 assists.
Here's Rivers taking it strong to the hoop, tipped home by Ewing. 6-point Bulls lead, so the Knicks get the quick bucket. It's time remaining. Michael Jordan through the foul. Hit on a reach-in. Michael is 7 for 7 from the line. Foul committed by Blackman. The Bulls 25 for 26 from the foul line tonight. Here's Scott Williams replacing Bill Cartwright, who hears the cheers. 9 points for Cartwright. And again, did a good job defensively against Ewing. Ewing with 22 points, but in the first half was not allowed to get to the good position. 7-point Bulls lead. Ewing, yes, 91-86. And the Knicks apply some pressure, 39 seconds remaining. Jordan being played by Starks and fires it down to Pippen.
Pat Riley told his team, come on, you got to go after him and get him. The clock is running down.
Knicks can't find the Bulls to give the foul. And Grant on the drive is fouled. It counts. Rolando Blackman with the foul. The Knicks could not chase the Bulls down. They could not get to them to commit the foul.
What happened was when the first double team took place, they got the ball out of their hands quickly enough before the foul could happen. Then Chicago kept the floor spread so well that they never could catch up to the basketball. Grant knows the clock's running down. He has to get a shot up somehow or he's going to lose the possession. And as seemed to have been the case this entire series, after those first 2 games were out of the way, Chicago's gotten every one of those bounce or breaks that they've needed.
Chicago leads by 8. Ewing, yes. Patrick Ewing hits again. It's a 6-point lead, but time is running out on the Knicks. Paxson backing it up, and now the foul is called. Or timeout. Let's see. No, apparently Paxson called for time with 5 and 6/10 seconds remaining. The Bulls 94 and the Knicks 88. We'll be right back. Unless there is a miraculous turnaround, the Chicago Bulls are headed back to the NBA Finals. Wow, for the New York Knicks, it's been an exciting impact season. 60 victories, top record in the Eastern Conference. They've come a long way in 2 years. Their best season in 20 years under the leadership of Dave Checketts and Ernie Grunfeld, Pat Riley. In particular, when you consider the revamping of the roster over the past year, but they've fallen short, raising the questions. Is it that Patrick Ewing still does not have the complementary players surrounding him, or is it Patrick Ewing, although an excellent all-star performer, still not able to rise enough to bring his team to the next level? Or is it at this stage of his career, despite all the off-the-court potential distractions, is it just impossible to defeat Michael Jordan? Now
I'd like to say that it's probably much more the last thing about the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan than it is anything to do with the Knicks. Patrick Ewing has showed that he is a superstar. He has stepped up and been a leader this season for the New York Knicks, both on the floor and off. Every one of these other players should be commended for the commitment that they have made under the Riley system and program, and it's paid dividends. One thing they will feel is a sense of pride, disappointment that they didn't advance in the finals, but after 2 years, there's not one of them, front office included, that should regret what they've accomplished.
But I can see one change coming up. That man will have a free throw shooting guru in training camp. Hey, what are you doing next? No, I'm busy. Look at that stat. Last 15 years, 106 teams have been down 0-2. 3 have come back to win the series, make it 4. The Chicago Bulls, as Scott Williams concludes matters for a 96-88 victory. And it is Chicago going on to the NBA Finals. Chicago will attempt to three-peat, trying to become only the 3rd team in NBA history to pull off 3 in a row. Well, for the New York Knicks, the season has concluded, and now the Bulls wait for the winner between Phoenix and Seattle. That to be settled tomorrow. Now let's go over to Ahmad Rashad, who has Scottie Pippen alongside him.
All right, thanks, Marv. Scottie coming into this series, so many things said. All the papers read that, well, we can beat the Chicago Bulls if we get to Scottie Pippen. That didn't happen. You paid big the entire series.
Well, we had to get a hold of this team. Winning in New York the first 2 games, it was tough. We never could get adjusted to their defense. We got back home, watched a lot of tape on them, and we made some adjustments, and it helped us throughout the series.
One of the things you guys never lost was your confidence. You always thought you could come back in this series.
Well, definitely. I mean, we've always been a good road team. We always had that confidence and that mentality of going out on the road and winning. And we're going to take care of business here in the stadium. We just had to get that win in New York.
As you look forward to this series, Seattle or Phoenix, which would you prefer?
Well, right now we're going to enjoy this big win tonight. So hopefully they go in about 4 or 5 overtimes and get tired before we see the first game. But we don't know who we're going to be facing. It's going to be a tough series.
All right, Scottie, congratulations. Good luck to you. We'll see you in the next round. All right, back to you, Marv.
All right, Ahmad, another excellent game for Scottie Pippen, 24 points. Michael Jordan did not have one of his finer ball games, 25 and 8 for 24. From the field, Patrick Ewing, the high man, with 26. Well, how have the Bulls fared against the Sonics and the Suns? Well, against Seattle, the Bulls won in Seattle. And then here in Chicago, the Bulls won by 3. Jordan with big games on both occasions. So they went 2-0 against Seattle, against Phoenix. A 128-111 Chicago win back in November at Phoenix. Jordan had 40. And then March 30th at Chicago, the Suns won 113-109, led by Charles Barkley. That's the final. The Bulls defeat the Knicks to win the series in 6. And they are headed to another NBA final. A reminder, tomorrow, starting at 12 noon, the French Open Women's Final, presented by Coca-Cola Classic. Number 1 seed Steffi Graf going against number 5 Mary Jo Fernandez. And then tomorrow, Game 7, it'll be Shawn Kemp and the Sonics, Charles Barkley and the Suns, starting 3 o'clock Eastern time with Showtime. And then tonight here on NBC, The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, late night with David Letterman, and Friday night videos. It's all coming up. Final score once again here in Chicago. The Bulls 96 and the Knicks 88. For Mike Fratello, Ahmad Rashad, and Hannah Storm, I'm Marv Albert. This has been a presentation of the NBA on NBC.
Tower, this is the Channel 5 News at 10.
Concludes matters for 96-88 victory. It is Chicago going on to the NBA Finals.
The New York Knicks, a team rebuilt specifically to beat the Chicago Bulls. They failed. While the Bulls now look forward to a possible three-peat, the Knicks look forward to a possible repeat of their rebuilding effort.
We have lots in store tonight in this hour-long edition of the Channel 5 News. We're going to go back live to the stadium to hear from the Bulls, and we will see how Chicago fans are celebrating, and we'll hear why Michael Jordan has decided to break his silence about gambling and what he has to say. John Kelly is here now to start it all off.
Yes, and as we talked about the little delayed sweep, or as you put it, the stutter sweep. Bulls getting it done, having a good time while they're doing it. Now, considering the Knicks have geared everything and every step of their season toward this very series, you knew they wouldn't let it go without leaving everything they had out there on the court. But what they had was not enough as the Bulls' quest towards history continues. We show you what it looked like from the stadium. Bulls lead by 3 at halftime. Then it's hang time. Pippen to a flying Michael Jordan. He directs in 2 of his 25 points. Now the key play in the 4th. Jordan driving over to Paxson. He steps up and sticks a big 3-pointer. And then Greg Anthony is whistled for a technical. The Bulls convert on a 4-point play. They lead by 7. The Knicks seem to be blowing their cool at this point. Now later, it's Paxson again. A tough shot this time, shot clock running out. A great effort, great body control, 81-77 Bulls. Now Michael goes cold late, so Scotty steps up. Pippen, facing the shot clock, faces up and knocks it down. The Bulls are up by 5. Then, time ticking away. Scotty helps put this one away. A 3-point bomb. He finishes with 24 points. The Bulls go back to the finals. Tonight's final, 96-88. Mark Giangreco was there for the entire thing. Mark, take it away.
Well, John, it was a nail-biter. I tell you, the Knicks hung around all night long, but in the end, their poor free throw shooting betrayed them once again, and the Bulls owned the boards once again. Michael Jordan did not have one of his better games once again, but Scottie Pippen was the man. He will be the MVP of this series. Spectacular. 1:01 left, the shot clock down to 2. He hits the clutch 3 and drives the stake into the Knicks' heart. 24 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds. Scottie Pippen is the man, and the critics just have to go away now. We're standing by live, as always, in front of the podium, awaiting Pat Riley, Phil Jackson, most likely Scottie Pippen and Patrick Ewing, and other assorted Bulls and Knicks. And Tom Scher is standing by live down the hallway in front of the Bulls locker room, so we'll be bringing you the most complete post-game coverage you could ask for. Scottie Pippen hitting that clutch 3 really sealed it, but with all due respect, I actually think the turning point of this game came in the 3rd quarter when the crowd booed Madonna. We'll be back with more in a moment. Mark Giangreco live in the stadium.
Thank you very much for the insights, Mark. The Bulls win it by 8, and they'll have to wait and see who they play, the Sonics or the Suns. And
Tough crowd.
Yeah, booing the material.
That crowd started lining up outside the stadium by mid-afternoon.
True. I want to also say to all those Knickerbocker fans, your time will come. This one step at a time in the playoffs. You made it to the finals of the conference, and they had a great round. The Bulls, well, they showed their excellence, I think, by stepping up and winning 4 in a row. There's nothing you can say about this team that hasn't been said before. Except their defense rises to the occasion. It looked like Michael Jordan was exhausted out there tonight. I couldn't find enough time to rest him. He couldn't find his rhythm offensively, but we were able to find a way to win it, and that's the success of this team. Scottie Pippen stepped up big. We started rebounding the second half after a dismal powder puff first half on the boards, and it made a difference in the ball game. The home team crowd gave us the energy we needed to sustain the defense, picked our spirits up a number of times when I felt that we were down, feeling blue about the game, depressed about the banging on the boards we were taking, and upset about the offensive inconsistencies that we had. But we maintained our spirits throughout, and were able to sustain that small 3-5-7, 3-5-7 lead that we were able to grasp in the second half. The Knicks, one comment about them as a basketball club, they had a great season. I thought they played hard every single night. It's a tribute to their team and to their management, the staff, coaching staff that have done a great job with the club, motivating them and getting them there. I think that rivalry was born last year and was sustained this year, and we'll have to see what it brings and what level it goes to the next. As far as the next series of the playoffs, I could care less who we play. We'll be watching avidly tomorrow, as we do not pay attention too often to the Western Conference, at least from a scholarly aspect of basketball. And we'll see what happens with those 2 teams out there in the Western Conference tomorrow. Should be a very interesting game. Questions?
Coach, before the game you talked about the importance of rebounding. Dismal performance in the first half. What did you say to the team to pick it up in the second half?
Well, there was a timeout at some point in the first half where I called their attention to the numbers. I was mystified. I was credulous at the fact that we could not seem to get the ball. And even the ones we were getting, we looked shaky on. Horace had 2 rebounds. He was our leading rebounder. If that doesn't say something about our board effort, I don't know what does. we just went back in the locker room and we took a look at ourselves and said, you know, this is a fight. This team's dangerous. They're at the point of being eliminated. They're throwing everything at you. You got to go back and rebound with the gusto that you've got. And the second half, we started playing the way we should.
Bill, is this series that Scottie Pippen finally gets his just due as one of the best basketball players in the NBA?
Is there anything else to be said about him? I don't know. I mean, he just had a terrific series against the Knicks, and I think justly so, because he was labeled as a, you know, somewhat of a pussyfooter out there, a guy that couldn't take a beating and come back, and he certainly did today.
How agonizing was it that it was at 5 the whole way and you couldn't push it at all? I mean, how agonizing is that to have to sit through that? It was so close and you couldn't seem to push.
Well, it was a tribute, one, to their defense, that they just did not let us get out. And every time we did in the first half, they found an answer with a three-point shot to break it back down into a game. But the significance of it is that we felt always that we were sustaining the momentum in the second half. The first half, we lost it at the end of the half, and we felt dangerous, perilous, you know, when we went into our locker room like we'd lost the momentum. And that's the thing, that doesn't matter what the score is when you go in the locker room. If you lose momentum like that, you know your backs are up against the wall because you have to maintain and regain it. That's what we did, and that's what we did in the second half. The score was immaterial. This was a 5-point lead in a game like this was like a 10-point lead in a 100-point game.
Bill, was all the controversy around MJ after the second game, did that help unite the ball club to the point where you guys...
I think everybody realized what a strain he was under at some point during the game, and they stepped up and replaced some of the missing parts that were there, some of the you know, things that just didn't go right for him tonight. But I think it was a tremendous strain, and he held up under it terrifically.
Now the stretch, you went with the lineup that has won the previous 2 championships.
Yes, I did. John Paxson played with a lot of, at least a lot of effort towards getting us into our offense. I felt the Knick defense has broken us down in the second half with pressure, made us get scattered on our offense. John, I knew, could glue us together and hold us in. He had a big three-pointer, had another one rattle out on him. He was doing a good job defensively. I just felt comfortable with that lineup. We got Bill back in the lineup at 6:50, and I felt that team could ride us home. Corey? I'm not concerned. This will pass.
The play of Stacey King, a couple of big offensive rebounds there in that fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Got elbowed in the eye.
Yeah, well, Stacey gave us a little bit of energy. He had some hop to his game and some speed. He got a steal or two. He got an offensive rebound that looked like everybody stopped, and he was the only one that could continue to move at that point in the game. And it was a great effort, and you know, we appreciated what he could give us out there. What is that? It was rumored, and the players believed in themselves, and they were capable of pulling it out. I certainly was not. I thought this one was going to be a 7-game series the way we'd played. But of course, that game Wednesday night was a terrific battle for us and a great win. Who said that?
Sounds like somebody just...
Well, I noticed that jump shot from the baseline.
Horace and Scottie played.
And then he looked at his hands. I'm going to let these two guys up.
Actually, that was Horace and Scottie asking how Horace and Scottie played. And here they are, sporting their Eastern Conference champion hats.
How did you think the 2 of them played?
Outstanding.
What was it like when you just couldn't push it above 5 and it was just that way the whole second half and fourth quarter? What was the feeling like out there?
Well, it was kind of tough. We really never could gain that momentum. The fans kept trying to give us that energy, and we just could never get it turned on. You got to give credit to the Knicks defense. They kept running us off of everything that we tried to execute. But finally, I mean, we was able to get a little burst and maintain, and we kept this building from 5 to 6 to 7, and you know, finally we was able to open the game up. But it was very tough. You got to give credit to the Knicks team.
Scottie, that three-pointer you hit with a minute left, got a bailout shot, but the 24-second clock is winding down. Tell us about that.
Well, I got the ball, and I was kind of in a strange situation, and I happened to look up and see the clock with 4 seconds. So I just tried to act as if I didn't know that the shot clock was running down and get myself gathered so I could pull up for the shot. And it fell for me, so it was a big shot. I don't know. What you think? I got 2 rings, so I think I arrived a couple years ago. Damn the critics. Well, I never realized that Michael wasn't on his game. You know, Michael does a lot of things out on the court where you never really look up at the scoreboard and see how many points he's got. I was basically looking at the little things Michael was doing. He helped us out on the boards. He was finding guys open, and that was the most important thing. That's the best type of game that we can get out of Michael, when he can draw a defense like this team will really focus on it.
Forrest, this game was played at their tempo. It was the Knicks' tempo and low scoring, and they won the battle of the board. How did you guys overcome all that?
Well, just heart and determination. By halftime, you know, it was ridiculous. They out-rebounded us 25-7, and we really had to go out there and rebound to really put our foot down and really take the lead on it. You know, they kept scratching and scratching and scratching, and unfortunately for us, the fan was behind us.
Are you glad to see the last of Patrick Ewing for a while, the way he played?
I'm glad the Knicks are going home, you know, the entire crew, you know, along with the GM, Pat Riley, and everybody.
Excuse me?
He's being asked about Phoenix Horse.
Well, I think tomorrow, I mean, all the guys were basically just going to watch the game and, you know, may the best team win. So we love to see Seattle win, therefore we can maintain home court. But, you know, whoever we play, it's going to be a tough series. It's not going to get any easier for us.
Of course, beating the Knicks in 6, sweeter than beating them last year in 7?
Well, just because this year we didn't have home court and we were the underdog. I'm speaking like the media, you know, we were the underdogs and everything. And, you know, I think this year was much sweeter just because of those couple of facts.
How you feel? If you had to point to 1 or 2 things that separate you from the Knicks in this series, what would you say?
Our defense. And we came out and played very aggressive defense in the wins that we've gotten.
After being down 2 games to none, was there any thought that this team could not come back?
Of course not. I mean, we're defending champions.
Horace Grant and Scottie Pippen in the interview room. Let's go quickly to the Bulls locker room where Tom Scher is standing by. Tom?
Well, Ron, Bill Cartwright is here. He had a huge game against Patrick Ewing, got 9 points, some key rebounds, and kept Ewing out of the Knicks offense.
For this whole series.
Bill, how about keeping Ewing out of the Knicks offense tonight, most of the time?
Well, the job that we were doing on Patrick, what we wanted to do was keep away from the bucket. Patrick played great. He shot the tar on the basketball. And the only job that we did do on him was keep away from the bucket and maybe not let him get some second shots, or maybe anything he got, he would earn. So in that aspect, sure, we did a great job. But the other aspect, he still scored a ton of points.
Well, how concerned were you? The Knicks clearly out-rebounding the Bulls in the first half, and you guys really dodged a bullet there. Though, was that the mark of a championship team? You stayed in it when you weren't playing that well in certain areas?
Well, obviously we were getting crushed on the boards, but then we were still able to go down and score. We couldn't stop them, but they couldn't stop us either. So it was just really who was going to crack and finally make one defensive stand on the court. And fortunately, we came up with it. We had some big steals, and we just took care of the ball better at the end of the game.
Now, you were in the NBA 12 years before you got into your first final. What's it like to get into your 3rd in a row?
This is great. This is what keeps you going. This is what keeps you playing. And, throughout the whole course of the season is so long. You just wait for this, and this makes it all worthwhile.
Well, good luck, Bill, and congratulations. Bill Cartwright here in the Bulls locker room. What an effort by this entire team, because if you look at the game and how it went, they hung tough, didn't get down on themselves. They were clearly the more confident team tonight, and I think that points to experience. In the Bulls locker room, where we'll have more live during our special postgame show. Tom Scher, Channel 5 Sports.
Thanks very much, Tom. We have much more Bulls coming up. We're going to go back to Phil Walters and see how he's still doing with those fans, and a story about some Chicago people who were rooting for New York. That and more coming up on this special edition of the Channel 5 News.
For Cartwright, shot clock at 4. Here's Pippen for 3. Again, Scottie Pippen has hit a big shot.
And Tom Scher has John Paxson with him.
That's right, Joan. 2 big field goals by Pax, 1 a three-pointer, and 2 free throws to help in the second half.
That was there for him. And I think once he accepted that he was going to have to stand tall, then it really did turn the series around.
Pax talking about Michael Jordan here. John, the offense of the Bulls tonight and the role you played, a clutch three-pointer. You beat the 24-second clock on another shades of 85, or 91, the finals against the Lakers Game 5.
Not at all. It just feels good to have been in there and contribute a little bit to a win that means a lot to this franchise. We're going back for a chance at a third title, and we're all real proud that we beat a very good basketball team.
Well, you know, you talk about not at all. Your role is much different this year. I looked at the way the players off the bench, of which you were now one, contributed in the second half. Stacey King, is there more of a feeling of pride because it was harder against the Knicks and everybody had to step up?
Yeah, everyone had to step up. It's our bench kind of gets a bad rap for not being as productive as maybe some others, but in reality, there's not as many opportunities for us on the floor to shoot the ball. But I thought that we played very well in key stretches this series. And I'll tell you what, down 2-0 and to beat New York 4 times in a row is really a great accomplishment.
Thank you, John. John Paxson, 4 playoff victories in a row over the Knicks. Let's go now from the locker room here over to Mark Giangreco on the other side of the stadium. Mark?
Well, Tom, a very crestfallen Pat Riley speaking right now.
I can't see a team that's going to beat them, and they're back on top of their game, and we had our chances, but we just didn't get it done. So where this franchise was a couple of years ago, we will keep it in perspective. We have made tremendous strides in growth. There's a lot of pride in the organization and with the team, and it's all part of the process. We will always be coming back. Any questions? What's that? We had a great year, you know, but because of the commitment and what we really wanted, we're not going to be able to take solace in this or to really evaluate it for a couple of days. I'm sure they're, you know, until the scapegoats are exhausted, you know, until that's exhausted, and it shouldn't be, but, you know, that's the nature of this business. Will we be able to really celebrate, you know, what we've accomplished? You know, we won 60 games. We did everything we had to do during the regular seasons, but as we began to go up in class against a very competent, well-coached, talented basketball team that won back-to-back titles and is committed to it again, we just did not have enough. So, but in a few days, I think our players will look back and say we've made great strides.
Now, you said, in essence, that the victory is miraculous.
Right. Yeah, I know. I mean, there is. I mean, and it would be the same thing for the Bulls. And I think any team, the 4 teams that were left in this whole fight, you heard Charles Barkley. You know, I mean, you hear these players that it's win or nothing. And when you make that kind of commitment, it gets you to a level that maybe you wouldn't have gotten there had you made it. And I think when you reach for a giant goal, that you usually go a little bit farther than you normally would have. And as long as our players are burning with that kind of passion, then I think that one day we're going to get over the top, and we know that.
And you said the other night that tonight would be a defining moment or defining evening for your team. Do you think tonight adequately defined the team?
I think our team played as hard as they could play tonight. We didn't play well. You know, when you out-rebound a team 25-6 or 7 in the first half, and you make that kind of effort to win a game, then I think you've defined the character of the team. We just did not play well enough to beat a great team at home, and you have to do that. You have to play your very best game here. We weren't able to do that. When you look back on the season, and we look back on it, we'll go to Game 5, and the opportunities that we had in Game 5 that would have given us a cushion game to be able to play Game 7. And to me, that's where there was a letdown. You know, I don't know why, but that was the game that is going to be remembered by me. Yeah.
Pat Riley vowing that he and the New York Knicks will be back, and we will be back with more of our live post-game coverage in just a moment. Stay with us.
A very happy Stacey King, quality minutes off the bench and a good performance. Here's Stacey now with his thoughts on this victory over the Knicks to go to the finals.
Do you think it possibly was the fact that there was a distraction, your team was down 0-2?
Talking about the Michael Jordan factor now, whether that helped the Bulls focus to unite.
Yeah, I mean, you know, with this new allegation with Michael, everybody realizes that Michael's a target for a lot of things. And what we did as a team is said, hey, we got goals. We got to go out here and win a championship. We got to beat the Knicks. And forget what's going on off the court. Let's just focus on what we have to do on the basketball court, and that's what we did.
Stacey, I was sitting behind the Bulls bench. There was laughter, there was smiling. Even when it's a three-point game in the fourth quarter, you guys never seem to lose confidence. Is that the way it was?
Well, it was. I mean, we really felt like we had a really good chance of winning this ball game at home with our crowd, and you know, all we had to do was execute. We knew New York was going to come out and play us tough, and which they did. And you got to give a lot of credit to New York. They never gave up. We came back and won 4 straight games from them, and I think we just totally caught them off guard.
Well, that hasn't happened very often. To lose the first 2 games of a series, come back, win 4 straight, you win it, not even in 7 games.
You know what the key to that is, that when you play a 7-game series, it gives you a chance to regroup and try to look at what's going on. And that's what happened with us. We made some adjustments. New York wasn't able to counter, and we just jumped down and won the series from them.
Well, you had a big offensive rebound and putback. That was huge because you guys hadn't been getting the offensive boards. That gave the Bulls a 7-point lead, which quickly evaporated, but at least it didn't go the other way, huh?
Well, I felt like with Patrick roaming the middle of the paint, he's always chasing the ball with Michael and Scotty driving. So all I have to do is play behind his vision and just attack the glass and just try to keep everything alive with jumpers like Horace and Scotty. It's easy to get some easy buckets.
You feel you came into your own in this series with play on defense and offense?
I felt like I played well. You know, I think I can play better offensively, but defensively, I think I really played well and did a good job on Patrick. I was really pleased. I still have a lot of work to do, but, you know, we won, and that's all that matters right now.
3rd year in a row in the finals. Who do you want to play from the West, Phoenix or Seattle? They decide tomorrow.
Well, we'd like to play Phoenix because they're supposed to be the best team in the NBA, and so that's the key for us. We want to play the best, and if they're the best, let's go at it.
All right, look alive, will you?
Look alive.
All right, thanks a lot, Stacey. Let's go back to the newsroom. Ron?
Thanks very much, Tom.
Now let's go back out to Tom Scher, who's talking to B.J. Armstrong.
That's right, Joan. The starting point guard is here. You know, I was going to say you hit a big shot early in the second half to get the lead back to 5. Forget that. They were all big from this team in that half, huh?
Every shot in the playoffs is magnified so much. So every shot that you hit is a big shot to keep play, keep possession, and we just made the shots when we had to make them, and the guys did a great job.
Now, I think everybody watching this game on Channel 5 tonight had to say this was a gut-wrenching game to watch. What's it like to play in a pressure situation like this when it's so close for so long?
Well, this is what it's all about. This is why you work. This is what you go for, and this is what you practice for. So we were very prepared. I thought our guys stepped up. You know, John Paxson hit some key shots for us down the stretch, and Scotty, what can you say about him, those shots he hit? And, of course, Michael did a great job. But everyone just stepped up and really did the job they had to do out there, no matter how big or small it was. And just glad that we have a chance to go back and defend what we won last year.
A three-peat would be the first time in 25 years or so. Do you ever allow yourself to sit down and think about the historic precedent this team is about to set or equal?
No, I don't.
You don't do that?
You know, it just puts too much of a burden on you. You concentrate on the task at hand. The task at hand is us getting that first game in the finals. And then if we can do that one game by one game, before you know after the season, then I'll be able to talk to you about it in the summer, and we can collaborate on what you thought in the season and during the course of the year.
Yeah, we'll be down at Grant Park again. You got time off. Playoffs don't start the finals till Wednesday, so enjoy it.
Yeah, we're going to need a couple days of rest. Guys pretty banged up from this series, but we'll be ready to go, and hopefully we'll just give a fantastic effort.
BJ, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, BJ Armstrong of the Bulls, the starting point guard here in the Bulls locker room. Let's go back to the Channel 5 newsroom here.
All right.
Where is it born? The fire, the hunger that grips an individual so intensely, it drives his entire team. 2 men lie at the heart of the NBA championship. Each has traveled a vastly different path. Each has pulled his team to the same point in time. Michael Jordan permits nothing but success, a national championship at North Carolina, 2 Olympic gold medals, 3 times the NBA MVP, twice a world champion.
My main driving force is to win 3 in a row, and certainly somehow put myself in the elite category as Magic Johnson and Larry Bird.
Charles Barkley's road has been less satisfying. His days at Auburn brought little glory. His NBA career largely squandered on a team that could not win, yet this year brought a new sense of destiny, a gold medal, a new team, the MVP.
The bottom line, the MVP is not my goal. If we don't win the world championship, I'm going to be crushed.
2 men, 2 paths, but 1 trophy, only 1 champion.
This is the NBA on NBC. The 1993 NBA Finals. Tonight, Game 1 between the Chicago Bulls and the Phoenix Suns.
Here's the brand new America West Arena, host to the finals in its first year as the Suns' home court. Phoenix had the NBA's best record this year, and the Suns have home court advantage in this series. Still, they're decided underdogs in the finals to the defending champion Bulls. And here comes the home team.